click away. Hey, what's up, SEO pros? Big news! I recently discovered SEO Nitro, and let me tell you, it's a game changer. In just days, I saw incredible results that blew my mind. With SEO Nitro, you can get links from thousands of different C-block IPs, the most powerful links at a fraction of the cost. Patent software lets you control your entire backlink profile in minutes. Add, remove, and change links at any time. Protect your site from Google's changes with SEO Nitro's revolutionary backlinking software. Imagine having the power to have laser-targeted themed backlinks, automated link spinning, set it and forget it. Thousands of stellar sites and manual and automated posting options. SEO Nitro is the ultimate SEO weapon. Head on to SEONitro.com now to revolutionize your SEO game. Don't miss out on page 1. It's just click away. Hey, what's up everyone? Happy Friday. Welcome to another episode of the SEO Video Show. Today we got a special episode with Michel Fortin. We'll be talking about some great things today about AI and how to humanize things. Stefan, my man, happy Friday. So we'll actually be talking about the SEO evolution in an AI-driven world. That's the topic today, and we'll be covering a bunch of things, even like some virtual reality stuff, some cool things. Okay, let's see here. If you guys still want a copy of the SEO in 2024 book, shoot me an email at dre@seo.video with your mailing address if you are in the US of A. Jeremy, my man, what's up? I see we have Michel in the back. Let me see if you can hear me here. Can you hear me okay?
Please.
Love it, love it. Okay, you look good, sound good, looking good. All right, all right. So as we wait here, we have Michel in the back, and we'll be talking about SEO evolution in an AI-driven world. We're going to talk about like how social bonds can help with your SEO strategies, and kind of really humanizing, things while AI is just being so popular. And now we got a great set of questions and topics that we'll be covering today. And Michel, you are on the East Coast?
I am in Ottawa, Canada, the capital of Canada.
Oh, nice. Canadian. Have you been out there? Have you born and raised out in Canada?
Yeah, I'm French Canadian. I was born and raised in Gatineau, Quebec, which is near Montreal. Then I moved to the Ontario side, which is maybe 2 hours away from where I originally came from. So.
Nice, nice. I see a bunch of you out there, guys. Don't be shy. Say hi in the live chat. We're just hanging out, waiting for everyone to come in. We got about a little less than 6 minutes to go. Oh yeah.
How about you, Dre? How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm based out here out of Oakland, California. So it's nice. It's noon my time. Love the weather here in California. And we have Kenneth here that says, hi, Michel. Hi. Let's see here. So any other conferences coming up? Oh, we have here Kate, Glenn. Hi, Michel.
Kate's amazing. Kate works with me.
Oh, nice. At Masura, is it Masura Media?
At Missouri Media.
Missouri Media. There you go.
Yeah, Missouri Media is the company that actually has multiple arms. One of them is Drumeo, where we teach people how to play drums. We have piano. We teach people how to play piano, and we also have guitario and singio.
Love it, love it. We have Kobe. He says, hey, guys. I saw that you play drums. Are you one of the instructors on Drumeo?
No, but it's one of the things that I think was inspirational for me to join Zora Media, because I am a drummer, so I understand the audience, right? It's kind of like a great way to connect with your audience. So, yeah, I am a drummer. I've been a marketer for 30 years, but I've been a drummer for 40 years. So.
Oh, there you go. Let me see here. My headphones are low. Let me try to make sure I get the volume up here. Fletcher says, "Happy Friday." Get my headphones. Jeremy says, "Drumeo is awesome. Nice. El Esparillo is insane." Estepario? Estepario.
El Estepario Ciudadano.
Got it.
And I don't even pronounce it right. I'm French Canadian, so.
Wonder it's so the dial for my headphone volume is with, I have to move it with my mouse, and I can't get to move the volume knob. This digital knob is not working for me. What happened to the regular knob I can just turn?
Well, maybe an up and down arrow, maybe? I don't know.
No, it's weird because it's like a knob. I guess the UI of my interface here uses just a circular volume controller. Because you sound really low. I mean, I think you're fine though. My levels when you speak are pretty fine here. I just can't hear you. All right. I might have to just listen very, very carefully. All right, let's see here. All right, guys, we got less than 2 more minutes to go. I'm going to go ahead and start getting things ready while I try to get my volume up in my headphones. And so, Michel, I'm going to introduce you in about 8 minutes after the hour. I'm going to go over a couple of videos, and then so I'm going to go ahead and put you on mute for now, and then I'll unmute you right when I introduce you.
Sir.
All right. Suggestions tuning in. We have Michel Fortin in the back, and we'll be talking about the SEO evolution in an AI-driven world. We got some great things going on. So we got, if you guys are into conferences, we have the SEO Spring Training Conference coming up. I'm going to go ahead and play a little information for you before we get things started. Want to unlock the keys to search engine dominance in 2024? The 5th annual SEO Spring Training Conference returns April 3rd through 7th in Scottsdale, Arizona. Join hundreds of search engine marketers and leaders to get the latest strategies, tactics, and insights to boost your SEO success. Attend over 40 sessions on topics like advanced SEO techniques, AI optimization, local SEO, and more. And actual takeaways from renowned industry professionals leading the way in SEO innovation. And most importantly, connect and build relationships through networking events designed to foster career growth and strong community of marketing peers. Space is limited, so secure your spot today before tickets sell out. Visit SEOspringtraining.com to register and check out conference details. Level up your SEO skills in Scottsdale with SEO Spring Training 2024.
Yeah. Hey, time to get it started. No delay. Let's work. Wanna see you be an SEO expert. Paul Andre De Vera, steady dropping knowledge. Over 15 years in the game, so he knows all about it. Master the art of SEO. You will be amazed. Time to get your brand off page to on page. Dropping knowledge, legendary for sure. Whether you're just getting started, a self-employed entrepreneur. Yeah, let's go. Subscribe to the SEO Video Show.
Hey! Welcome to another episode of the SEO Video Show, where SEO is alive and fun. My name's Paul Andre de Vera, aka Dre, and I curate SEO videos released within the past week into about 1-minute clips. My favorite part of the show is when I get to introduce my guest, and my guest this week is the VP of Growth Marketing at Masura Media, Michel Fortin. Before we get started, let's say what's up to everyone in chat. I see Jeremy, Fletcher, Kobe, Kate, Kenneth, Stefan. What's up, everyone? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Now let's get on with the show.
Hey Dre, what kind of fruit do SEOs like best? Low-hanging fruit.
All right, first with Google. Google released a couple of videos. They actually released a podcast video where Gary also talks about sitemaps. Let's check this one out.
Before we move on, let's talk about sitemaps. Sitemaps are a collection of URLs to pages on your site, and they are a great help if you want your site discovered by Google. The most popular format is an XML file, which allows you to provide not only the URLs of your pages, but also some additional metadata about them. Sitemaps are absolutely not mandatory, but they can definitely help Google and also other search engines find your content. If that caught your attention, work with your website provider or developer to make sure that your website generates sitemap files automatically. While you could sit in a corner and manually add all those 7 million URLs to your sitemap, that is a lot of work and is an unnecessary source of errors.
When it comes to sitemaps, my strategy is really kind of breaking them up from different countries to different products. I mean, really kind of like optimize your sitemaps is another great way to maximize the crawlability of certain pages of your website. If you are messing with just HTML pages, a great tool to create sitemaps for you is Screaming Frog, which helps with a lot of those mass-generated sites that people are using with that are HTML only. All right, how to use guest posting for link building by Jenny Abouobaia. Let's check this one out.
When guest posting, always do manual outreach. Never use a list from a freelancer that anybody else can get their hands on. The best possible results from guest posting come by building relationships with webmasters and actually reaching out to the websites that you want to be published on. Use tools like Ahrefs, SEMrush to find out metrics of different websites and look through their backlink profile, look through who they're getting their links from, spend some time on the website itself, assessing the quality of the content that's on there, and then reach out to those websites. Building your own relationships, building your own list essentially is always going to be much better in terms of you can target websites that are going to actually move the needle for the site that you're working on. It's not just going to be any old website that anyone can get a link from. It's going to be a site that you have personally spent your time assessing and ensuring that this is a website that you actually want to get links from.
Be sure to check out Jenny's episode on the SEO Video Show. Her topic on fake personas was fascinating. Okay, how to get local SEO backlinks by Osborne Media. Let's check this one out.
So how do I get local SEO links from other businesses that are located in Tampa? I wonder what I could do. Oh, I can change the game. Well, as an example, what would you think that's maybe relevant to roofing? Remodeling. Why not that? Okay. Now, am I competing with these guys? No. But are they located in Tampa? Yeah. If Google were to look at their backlink profile, what's the chances that their backlink profile is very similar to that of the roofers? Probably pretty bloody close. All right. So this is a fantastic method that you can utilize on ways you can get local SEO links. Because is old mate going to have a problem? These guys, True Tampa Bathroom Remodeling. I reach out to them.
My top 3 local links are socials, citations, and press releases. And of course, if you didn't know, I started a new digital PR podcast at youtube.com/@magicpr. So be sure to check that one out. Okay, Sam O tests Neil Patel's SEO tip. Let's see what happens.
Here's a quick hack that I use to drive over 1 million visitors to my blog each month. So once you log into Google Search Console, compare your current traffic over the last year. So you'll see the pages that have declined the most in traffic. Those are the pages that I want you to go and update.
Let's do it. So I went to the performance report in Search Console, set the comparison to year-over-year traffic, went to the Pages tab, and sorted the table by clicks difference. And I couldn't believe it. We lost like 20,000 clicks to this page. Got to message SQ for an update.
Yo, can you update the top Google searches post? Need to prove an SEO tip on TikTok is legit.
And seconds later, I knew we were on the same page. We updated the post using the exact same method in my speed ranking video, and in less than 24 hours, we jumped from position 16 to 5. And then to 4, with only Google outranking us. But the crazier thing is that our traffic kept climbing, and within a couple weeks, we had more than doubled our organic traffic, reaching over 20,000 monthly visits from Google. This tip is verified legit.
This is a great tip to add to your content refresh strategy. Sam and Neil both have been on the SEO Video Show, so be sure to check them out. This brings me to my favorite part of the show. Please ask questions on the topic and I will address them in the order that they are received. Before we get started, here is a word from our sponsor. You struggling to get high authority backlinks? My buddy Ferry has a perfect solution for you.
How much do you think this digital PR campaign is worth? Wait just 1 minute before you answer. Watch as we hijack the news with Taylor Swift and Barbie to get you the links. Now we can take this data set from ONS and paste it right into your emails to get you the links. Now how much do you think this campaign is worth? Don't answer! Wait until you see Bloomberg, BBC, Forbes, top tier national and regional news outlets, reactive PR, data PR, expert commentary, over 70 team members at your disposal. This product is so hot I need a fan! And then listen to what campaigns we do at no extra charge. Gain character wages, bananas and sleep, best dates for dogs, luckiest UK areas, and many more. All for just how much did you guess? 10,000? 20,000? Even more? No! It's just £5,500. That's right. It's 5.5 grand. It's an incredible value, but it's true. It's digital PR from Search Intelligence. Order today. PO Box searchintelligence.co.uk. Except B2B clients.
Michel is a digital marketing strategist and advisor with decades of experience in successfully generating visibility, demand, and growth. His notable achievements include the first ever digital campaign to generate 1 million online in under 24 hours. He is also the author of The Power of Positioning, The Depth of the Sales Ladder, and User First SEO. Please welcome the VP of Growth at Masura Media, Michel Fortin. Michel, my man, welcome to the show.
I keep thinking that it's going to be monster truck.
Love it. Everyone, let's give a round of applause. Thank you so much for coming on, Michel. It was great meeting you for the first time in person at was it Brighton SEO in San Diego?
Yes.
It was a great conference, right? I mean, what are your thoughts on conferences?
Oh my gosh, we so needed after COVID. It was like, and the entire talk that we're talking today is about the lack of human interaction, and that was a great example of how it was so needed. It was so awesome.
Love that. So I'm gonna get right into it. This is the first question I ask all my SEO professionals that come on here in 1 minute or less. How does Michel get ranking on page 1 of Google?
There's a story that I tell about how I learned copywriting. One of my very good friends, he's one of the world's best copywriting coaches. His name is David Garfinkel, and he says if you want to get good in copy, which is also the same way that you can get good in SEO, is to ask 3 questions: who's your market, what's their problem, and how do they talk about it? If you can answer those 3 questions or do research to find the answer to those 3 questions, you have what it takes to rank on the first page of Google.
Love that. I want to rewind this real quick. Hold on. Take us way back. Let's take us way back decades ago. When did you first get into SEO?
Oh my gosh. Well, I've been in marketing since the late 80s. One of my first jobs was I was an American consultant for a doctor back then. And when I became my own consultant, I decided to write a book called the 10 Commandments of Power Positioning. I'm losing my train of thought here. The 10 Commandments of Power Positioning. It was like my 10 best tips on how to build business. And it was really aimed at doctors, but it was kind of like a resume, but in a sense of a book, a resume in disguise, so to speak. And then this thing called the internet started, and it's like, oh my gosh, it's like this electronic yellow pages. I'm going to go on and I'm going to create this website, and I did that for my clients and for me. And then I said, you know what? There's this thing called emails and email newsletters and autoresponders. You know what? I'm going to start an autoresponder, and what I'll do is I'll give away my book in a digital format for free if they sign up to my email newsletter. Well, fast forward, 2 or 3 years later, in the mid '90s, I had 77,000 active subscribers, and that back then I was kind of like, wow,
Yeah.
And then eventually that led to a career in copywriting, internet marketing. I spoke on stages, I wrote books, and I think the defining moment in my entire career in 2004 when I wrote a sales letter for an internet marketer whose name is John Reese, and he wrote a book called Traffic Secrets, which he then later on sold to Russell Brunson. But Traffic Secrets was a sales letter that produced the very first $1 million in sales in the first 24 hours. And so they call it the $1 Million Day. And I was a copywriter behind that sales letter. So, I don't want to. I don't want to say this to boast, because I think that record was broken many, many, many times ever since. But people kind of consider me as the Roger Bannister of online copywriting, I guess you could say, because I was the first one to break that first, that 1 minute mile, so to speak. So that really defined my career, and it grew from that. And now, how I landed in SEO? Well, eventually what happened was I had an agency, and I learned a lot of SEO because a lot of the clients that I worked in copywriting were internet marketers, and a lot of them were doing SEO, and I learned a lot of SEO through them. And eventually, my business at that time, I co-owned with my wife. She passed away from cancer, and I didn't want to be back. I didn't want to go back to that business, so I sold my business to an agency, an SEO agency, that also in which I became a director. And then that led to another agency, and then eventually Missouri Media, where I am now.
Love that. So what part of SEO do you like about it? I mean, you could have worked on other parts, but I mean, what part of SEO actually interested you?
I think the one thing that, it's funny because I mentioned copywriting at the very beginning, and a lot of times people say, SEO and copywriting, how that's so different. But no, it's actually really the same, because understanding the one fundamental thing, which is human psychology, human nature, right? That's the one thing that will never change. And it's applicable in content marketing, it's applicable in copywriting and salesmanship. So when you look at listening to what your audience is looking for, what they want, and giving it to them, I say this. SEO, I mean, there's layers of complexity, and I really don't want to, I'm not trying to simplify something that is as important as SEO, but it really boils down to two fundamental things: the quality of your content and the quality of the experience in consuming that content, meaning the UX, the making sure that your site is crawlable, findable, usable, fun to enjoy that content. So the quality of your content, the quality of the user experience really comes down to what SEO is all about. And that's what I love about it. That's what I do, and that's what I have my team do at Missouri Media.
Love that. So you actually mentioned you learned it through some people at the agency. What were there? Were there any other resources or other people you followed in particular when you were first learning SEO?
Well, I've been in this game for 30 years, and I remember, using tools like Xenu.
Oh yeah, like a real busted version of Screaming Frog.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, well, I use Screaming Frog more than anything else right now, but Xenu. I used to use, back then it was Urchin Analytics. Now it's Google, obviously. But and I did a lot of using submitting tools, tools that would submit your site to a whole bunch of search engines like Lycos and Exciter and Webcrawler and Alta Vista and whatnot. But I've been following a lot of the SEO people from way back. I mean, Barry Schwartz has been in this business for a long time, but I remember back then there was like Sugar Ray Hoffman, Lisa Barone, Matt Cutts. the original guy from Google, Danny Sullivan back in the old webmaster days. So so I've been following a lot of these people, but the really the people that I helped in copywriting, the sales copy that I wrote for these top marketers, a lot of them were really good SEO people.
Yeah.
Ryan Dice, Frank Kerr,
Oh,
John
yeah.
Reese, Armin Morin, a lot of these top people. I learned a lot through them,
Mhm.
and it was fantastic because oftentimes when I wrote copy, I got to rub shoulders with them and get their products and learn a lot about their tools and their skills and their secrets, so to speak. So that's how I learned SEO.
Love that, love it. So I want to get right into our topic today, like, and the SEO evolution in an AI driven world. I mean, this topic kind of came about on a post you wrote on LinkedIn. It was, you reflected on a book on, was it John? Is it Naisbitt's?
John Nesbitt.
Yeah.
So, John Nesbitt. The thing is, whenever I first started in marketing, I was a big fan of some of the original marketing books back then. It was Positioning, The Battle for Your Mind by Jack Trout and Al Rees. Another one was a Clue Train Manifesto, one of my favorite books of all time. And the premise of that book comes down to one thing, is that the internet or the web is not made up of information, but it's made up of conversations, which is absolutely true. But the one book that you mentioned, and it's the one that I mentioned, is called Megatrends by John Nesbitt. It was written in the late 80s, I believe. I can't remember exactly when. And one of the megatrends that he wrote about, and this is back when the internet was just a baby, right? It was not even commercialized as much as it is nowadays, obviously. It was one of his megatrends was called high tech, high touch.
Yep.
And really what it came, the premise of that was the more high tech we become, which is what we want. We want to become more efficient. We're always looking for the path of least resistance. We want to make things more efficient, faster, easier, cheaper, whatever the case is. But the more we do that, and that process will also kind of remove that human element, the more we will scream for that human contact, that human interaction. So the more high tech we become, the more high touch people will seek out, and or the more that companies will need to be in order to fill that gap. It's kind of like a pendulum swing between humanity versus technology. And lo and behold, when the internet came around and everything was, we have information, data at our fingertips, and we got Google now, but now people were screaming for that interaction. So guess what? Something called social media came around. Wow, who would have thunk it, right? And then social media exploded. Now we're seeing this with AI. It's literally history repeating itself. AI is coming around, automating a lot of the stuff that is making things less human, I guess. So in doing that, the more people are going to scream for that human connection, that human authenticity, that genuineness, that humanness that we typically would get, or at least we would want in our interactions. So for businesses, I believe, to be successful in today's day and age is think about what elements of human interaction can you re-add into the equation, because you've automated a lot of the stuff with the help of AI. And the more you do that, the more you've got the golden key.
Love that. So, I mean, I'm guessing like the whole high tech, high touch concept is like holding it really well till this day.
Yeah, and it's really kind of like I said, history repeating itself. Yep. And I don't know, in the future it'll probably be something else. But the thing is, we are human beings. We are all fundamental, creatures of social interaction, and it's something that we crave, we seek, we need. And so if you take away something that makes it less interactive, you take out that interaction element, the more that it'll be sought by audiences, whether it's going to be from you as a business or from your competitors. You might as well be ahead of the market and think about how you can build that. And there's so many ways you can do that. There's human connections through communities. Like, communities are becoming so big right now. I mean, think about, this is a perfect example. Yesterday, Reddit filed for an IPO. And Reddit is not, a lot of people saying that's not really a search engine, but do you know how many searches people will make on Google with the word Reddit at the end? Because people want an answer from actual people rather than some AI or some search result. And I'm not saying that to demote or to denigrate that. That's not my point. My point is there's that level of human interaction, that authenticity that people are seeking. And Google and Reddit knows that. That's why Reddit became so popular and probably why it's filed for IPO. And even Google has talked about something called hidden gems. Now, I am not an expert in hidden gems and Gemini or whatever by any stretch of the imagination, but I know that hidden gems, which is basically Google looking for in its helpful content updates, first party interaction or first user experiences and content. And so that's where we need to look at how we can include those experiences, those human that human element in our content, in our experiences on our websites. The more we do, the more we'll be ahead of the game.
Love that. So, okay, to continue on that further, I mean, what strategies should businesses adopt then to integrate AI effectively, across their operations and marketing campaigns?
Well, you had a really good interview last week with Jordan Nguyen.
Yeah.
And he talked about something that was fascinating because it's really the thing that you can actually use in your own business for other reasons, which is site search. The people that actually are searching on your site it's giving you mountains of data, and it's really gold in your own backyard. And the second is customer support. I was watching an interview, I think it was a couple of days ago, with Lily Ray. She was on a podcast with Mark Preston, and he had asked the same question: how can you win in SEO in a AI-driven world? And she said, and she used an example, like if, let's say you have a pest control company. Well, sometimes the people on the ground, the people who are actually interacting with clients, they might have information about maybe there's like an influx of pests in a certain area, or there's a change in weather in a certain area, or something that's happening that AI would never be able to know because it's real time and it's also human related information. And that is a gold mine of information that you can feed into your business, into even if you have AI with your business, that you can use in order to be a step ahead of the game.
Love that. So, I mean, do you have any other tips on maybe possibly, making the AI more, precise and reliable, when using it for like.
Sure. Well, understand this. A lot of people say, well, AI is still like in its infancy, and AI is still kind of not really 100% accurate. It's hallucinating, whatever. I think people fail to understand, there's Moore's law, right? Moore's law says that technology seems to double every 18 months, I think, and probably even more now. It's the same thing with AI. AI is accelerating. Now we just got AI out. Now it's like GPT-5 is coming out. We got Sora now, and all those things are kind of becoming better and better and better. And even AI that's coming in to help AI become better. It's kind of like bettering itself. And I believe it's going to become so important to realize that it's going to be 100%. 10 times better, actually, 100 times better is probably a better word to say. And we can use that to our advantage. Now, in the marketing sense, I mean, there's so many different ways we can use AI. We can create content, obviously. We can create personalization, where we can recommend content based on how people behave on our websites. Maybe even, offers and products and services. And now, I think one of the most important things is we have entered a time where, and this is where AI has to be careful, is data privacy and sensitivity. We are dealing with now people who are more concerned about privacy. We've got now Apple that you can't track anymore. You've got attribution that's almost like in a near impossibility nowadays. You've got Google that's now carrying out third-party cookies. So now we have the ability to use AI to kind of make best guesses. They call it predictive analytics, so that we can kind of make decisions based on intelligence gathered through AI with the help of just looking at how people behave, not without identifying them. And then obviously there's customer support, where you can use AI to literally crawl all of your customer support documentation information and have that first level of entry. But then you can have that will make available higher levels of human resources to help out more complex issues where there has to be a human interaction there, and that will also increase the skill sets of your human resources for that reason. And obviously there's campaign optimization. If you're to paid ads, you can use AI to find out like what's the best channel, what's the best ROI, what's the best timing, what's the best targeting. All those things can be very, very helpful. So AI has a place. But now take that and then understand that there's also the side where the humans are, affected. You need to make sure that your audience is your number one, because that's the bottom line of all marketing, right? It's to fall in love with your audience and the problems that you help solve, not with your product and not with the marketing information that you gather. So.
Love that. Okay, so take this a little even further, because we haven't talked about this when we talk about technology, is virtual reality, VR. This is something that I'm curious, like how do you see businesses like, taking advantage of Apple's Vision Pro, Meta's Quest, to provide either an experience through marketing? How can maybe you think SEO will play in there? I'm curious, what are your thoughts?
There's an evolution that took place. If you're as old as me, being an old guy, I remember back in the day when, and I'm, of course I grew up when TV was around, but I mean before me there was only one way to communicate, which was on paper, whether it's a letter, a sales letter, or a newspaper. And then, we had radio that came around, and then radio gave it an extra dimension, which is how you can hear. Then TV came around. Now you can see and hear. And then the internet came around. And when the internet first started, websites was just text. So it's basically the same as the paper. You just took the letter that you wrote, and then you just put it into a digital screen in a digital format. But now we've added a third element, because now we've got graphics, and now we've got TV, we got videos and all that on our websites. But the third element is this thing called the mouse. We added interactivity, the ability to interact with that message, with that medium. Now we have Vision Pro, we've got MetaQuest. It's basically giving us the ability to be more immersed in that medium. So it's giving it an extra dimension, a little one further. So I think that there are so many ways that it'll be, used in. For example, at Museo Media, we teach people how to learn how to play drums, how to learn how to play piano, and I'm sure I can't really reveal too much, but I can tell you that there's going to be a lot of things come down the road that it's going to help people to use those tools that will elevate them at that next level. But now, taking that into consideration, it's also kind of considering. It's something that I've actually heard at the San Diego Brighton SEO, and it was Mike King who said that anything and everything that you come across on the internet that has been built by AI, or augmented reality, whatever, where you have to indicate, or it could be a best practice to indicate that it is written by AI or produced by AI. And I'm of the belief that eventually there'll come a time when everything will be AI. Everything will be created by AI, and everything will be made in some way by some form of learning, an LLM. So I believe that it's the opposite, where we should do what I call it augmented virtuality, which is basically adding anything in whether it's in your Vision Pro, whether it's on the web content that you come across, or an app even, that if there's a part that was created by or written by or reviewed by or checked by a human being, to indicate it. So I'm reminded of the Medic update in 2018 when people started to add to their websites reviewed by Dr. So-and-so. And I think that's probably going to become the case with content on the internet. I believe that everything will be written by AI, and instead of saying that this piece was written by a person, much less AI, we should consider that it's been written by AI, because all content will become generated over time. I believe that in my heart. Then you can have, reviewed by, or fact checked by, or edited by, or contributed by, or prompted by. And then you have the credentials, the expertise of the person who set that in motion, rather than the other way around.
Love that. Okay, so now that you said that, everything's gonna be generated probably with AI soon in the future. So, I mean, what are some steps companies can actually remain competitive then and innovative with everyone just using AI?
I think there's I don't have a crystal ball, obviously, and there's probably and even things that I would probably say now will probably be gone or obsolete by tomorrow, because that's how fast it's growing. But I believe that, like I said before, you have if you have a website that has content, obviously maybe content that was written, probably going to be written all by AI, you can easily add those bylines, as I mentioned, where it was written by somebody. You can also add a resource box. You look at, Wikipedia is a great example where they cite all their sources with all their links. Well, we kind of do that for EAT purposes, but we could do that as well for AI/human reviewing purposes. We can also add tooltips and hover cards where people, when they hover over a fact, a piece of information, or anything that can be perceived as either, I'm not really sure that this is entirely accurate, or maybe it's something that AI has hallucinated or whatever, but then you can get somebody that can verify that and it's proven. In sales letters, we use something that's been around for gosh knows how long. It's called a Johnson box. A Johnson box is a box that's highlighted in a sales letter. It's kind of like a side note or a by the way, and it's kind of like, or some important factual information that is given into a sales letter. Well, we can do that in content where we can kind of put a Johnson box in the middle of a piece of content where we have this human input that describes that fact checks or that supports whatever the information is being said. So again, I don't have a crystal ball, but I believe that we should start thinking about ways to prove authenticity. In fact, there's something that I kind of I joke around about. Whenever they added the extra E at EAT, so experience, expertise, authority, and trust. And I kind of look at expertise and experience kind of the same thing. Whatever. If you want to follow that same road, I believe it's going to become double E, double A, double T, and that'll be expertise and experience, authenticity and authority, and then trust and transparency. So EEAATT, and think about looking at your content through that lens, where what can you do in order to prove those elements or show those elements so that people can see that there is a certain level of genuineness, of humanness behind your content, the more you're going to use AI to the best of your ability.
Excellent.
Love that. I want to going down even further. Like, what are some advice or some tips you think that we can integrate proofs of authenticity and humanity, and humanity, and with this AI content? Like, what do you think else can we do?
Oh my gosh. So Kevin Indig wrote a really wonderful piece about moats not too long ago, and a moat in the sense of protecting your brand. And he said something in there that really it got my attention. He said that the future content is not in ultimate guides, it's going to be in storytelling. And I think that is so powerful, because the one thing that AI is not really good at, probably will never be really good at, is storytelling. Because in storytelling we can infuse emotion, we can use, maybe it'll probably become good, but I think that if we look at the ways that we can include, I call it I call it Siren. I love acronyms, and that's kind of helped me remember. I have ADHD, so it helps me remind stuff. But Siren means stories, interactions, so like surveys, contents, events, relationships, like a community, or ways that people can interact with other people. Sometimes even people will create groups or subreddits just to help support their product on their websites. It's kind of amazing. Experiences, so UX or CX even, your customer support is probably your gold mine. That's your best source of information, of data, but also of market research. And the last one, which is which is news. And news is because things that come out like right away, that's timely. AI, a lot of the AIs that are not all of them eventually they'll probably become up to date on the moment, but right now they're based on the information that they can serve is based on information that they've crawled a long time ago or some time ago anyways. So a lot of the new stuff that comes out now is something that AI can't replicate. So offering more of a news angle, offering more of an informational and educational angle is something that you can use in order to add more humanness to your content.
Love that. Okay, so I'm actually curious about your process, because you're a writer, you're a copywriter, and I'm curious out of how you are using, give us an example, maybe a prompt of how you use AI and still keep it very human centric.
Oh my. Well, first, one of the things that I obviously say that AI is a really fantastic tool for research, for drafting, for getting some ideas. Oftentimes what I do is, especially, nowadays a lot of people say, oh, I have writer's block. Well, now with AI, there's no such thing as writer's block. It's impossible to have writer's block nowadays. And also to make things more efficient. I often find myself when I write content, I can probably either do two things. I can write, and I need just ideas to kind of infuse in my content, or I will have vomited literally on a page, and no, not literally, but on a page with my thoughts and my mental stream of consciousness, and then I'll plug it into an AI and then say, can you make sense of this, or try to reward this in a way that's, and then of course, obviously, I'll edit it strongly and I'll add more stuff to it, especially personal examples and elements of news and things that cannot be replicated by AI. So that adds that human touch, that personalized touch to that content. So that's how I use it. And oftentimes, when I teach, for example, when I teach copywriting, I teach a formula called QUEST. QUEST. The job of any piece of content, whether it's a sales copy or sales letter or an ad or a piece of content you write for SEO, the beginning part, it has to qualify the audience. So when the audience reads, whether it's the headline or the pre-head or even the first few paragraphs, people know, that's for me. That's called QUEST. That's the Q of the QUEST. U is understand. I understand you. I get you. I know what the problem you're suffering. I know what you're going through. Trust me. And here's why I know. Whatever that is. It could be a story of me going through the same process, or at least describing the process. So when the person says, oh my gosh, this is exactly what I'm going through. And then E, which is to educate them. Hey, there are ways to solve that, or there are solutions for that, or here's the things that we can do in order to solve that problem. Stimulate, and then to get them to be stimulated on that one, or motivated, if you want to call it, on that one solution, which is your solution or your tips that you're talking about in your piece of content, if it's a piece of content. And then oftentimes T, transition, is when you transition them from either a browser into a buyer. They call it closing the deal, but I hate the word close. I love the word open, because you're really opening a relationship with your client. But it's really a formula called QUEST. Now, the reason why I mentioned this in the AI is those are kind of guideposts. And so I can kind of use those guideposts in my AI tool to give me ideas, or at least give me some examples that I can pick and choose. And then I will use those guideposts to then I'll write, and I'll be able to kind of use a flow that will follow that naturally.
Love that. QUEST, guys. QUEST. Be sure to write that down. I've been taking notes here myself. I'll be sure to drop that knowledge bomb again in the podcast. So I want to go into something that you mentioned earlier, and we kind of talked to this when you messaged me about interactive and community-driven content. This is something like in the context of increasing engagement through community-led sites. What actionable advice can you offer for business aiming to create more collaborative platforms?
The one thing that I'm seeing more and more nowadays is that businesses are building their own communities, and that community sometimes could be on even a social media platform. And like I know a lot of companies that actually have Facebook groups that are private groups, or either their VIP members, or maybe it's for providing customer support. They even use Messenger chatbot on their websites in order to provide customer service. But there's also, you can create subreddits, and there's Alex Hormozy just recently invested in a tool, a new website called Skool, SKOOL.com. And it's all about communities, and some of them are private, some of them are free, some of them are paid. And that's where you can gather a lot of that information that you can use for AI purposes, but also information that you can use for market research. You can gather stories, case studies, use cases that you may have even ever thought about, growth opportunities. You can probably even use it for building proof elements that you can add to your content that makes it more human, because you actually have people saying X, Y, and Z about your product or service. But it's also a great tool to build that human connection, because now some people will stick around just for that. And it's crazy, because we have clients that follow Drumeo Media for a long time, and they love us. There's a brand loyalty that builds up, and they become our best evangelists and even influencers without being paid influencers, right? And so having that ability added to your site is a big thing. But if you can't, then there's also like user-generated content. UGC is something that is so underutilized, and I think that there are ways to use that properly. Of course, there's levels of moderation, there's levels of making sure that you're cherry-picking the right stuff, but you can use that in order to grow your site's content, especially with user-generated content, because you can't fake that with AI. It's actually coming from real people, right? So stories, sometimes when people tell stories of how whether they were thinking about buying a product or service that you sell, and they were coming up with some objections, but when they bought the product, how their objections were solved. That is a story in itself. It's a case study or a testimonial that's fantastic, but it's also content that will attract people to your website that cannot be replicated with AI. But it's also something that can be feeding your AI for your customer support tool. So there's those different layers that you can add to your site that will make it grow.
Love that, guys. And if you guys have any questions, ask them in the live chat, because I'm coming close to a few of my questions here, and we're coming close to time already. So we have a few people in the audience. We have 27 Stories says, Michel, hello. We have Drumio is in the audience. Hi, Michel. And we had Garth over here says, people don't want to hear what computers have to say. All right. So I want to, if you guys have any questions, go ahead and ask them in the live chat. So, whoops, let me go make sure I'm bring back here. I want to kind of like summing things up here, like you're balancing high tech and high with high touch. I mean, with that, going back to what we were first subject the book that we were referring to, the concept. I mean, with AI's role in digital marketing growing, how can business like really maintain a balance between automation and authentic human interaction?
I will say this: the one key that will never be replaced by AI is your audience. You can use tools to interact with your audience. You can use methods of communicating to your audience, and you can also use information that your audience provides you in order to create better products, get better experiences, better websites, better content. But your audience is still the one thing that will never be automated. And so be passionate about it. One of the wonderful things I love about Drumio and working at Drumio is the fact that we love our audiences. We love our students. We're passionate about our students. And I think this is the one thing that we all need to be inculcated into our mindsets when we deal with our business is fall in love with your audience. Fall in love even with the problems that they're going through and the way that you can help them solve those problems. Don't fall in love with your product. Don't fall in love with AI that can make your product better. Those things will actually it'll help themselves. Focus on your audience, fall in love with your audience, be passionate about your audience, because that will be the one thing that will never AI will never be able to replace. And it's going to be the one thing that the more you learn about your audience, the more you like the very first question you asked me at the very beginning, how do you get on page 1 of Google? Who's your audience, what is their problem, and how are they talking about it? The more you know about those 3 things, the more you have it made.
Love it. We got one question here in the audience from Jeremy. Quick drumming question for Michel and Drumio. Will Grayson, Necrotman, be the GOAT?
Will Grayson the Crutman be the GOAT? I don't know. You probably have to ask him. Yeah, Grayson is one of our drumming artists, and a young gentleman who's actually now the drummer of Suicidal Tendencies, and fantastic drummer. He's also been starred on our Drumio channel many times. I think he's pretty close to being the GOAT, but it's not for me to decide. I can tell you that he's fantastic. That's as a drummer myself, I love a lot of drummers, and he's one of the ones up there that I really adore.
All right. So, I mean, I didn't say, if you guys have any more questions, I'm going to go ahead and ask my last question here. And if you guys sneak one in, you can go ahead and sneak it in. But I mean, if someone wants to become an SEO professional, or and get into the SEO industry, what would your number one tip be for them?
Wow. It's kind of funny because when I talk about copywriting and how I learned copywriting, people say, how did you learn copywriting? I didn't learn copywriting. I learned salesmanship. I learned how to sell. One of the first jobs that I had was being a sales consultant, although I called myself a marketing consultant, but it was really in sales. And then I decided to use or apply salesmanship on a piece of paper back then when I was writing sales letters. So doing that in SEO is kind of the same idea. people say, well, how do you become good SEO? How do you trick the search engines to be number one? How do you do these, I call it coding calisthenics, in order to try to get in the top of Google? And oftentimes, I say it's like a cat and mouse game. The thing is, the more you find ways to get on the top of Google, the more Google is going to find out, and it's going to build better ways in order to make sure that never happens. Don't think about being a cat or a mouse. Think about building a better mousetrap, in the sense of trying to go after your audience. Look at your audience and see how you can serve your audience as much as possible. Learn about your audience, the psychology, human psychology, salesmanship, which applies to copywriting as much as it applies to content marketing, which also applies to SEO. Because the more you serve your audience and serve them well, the more Google is going to reward you with good rankings. And that's really the bottom line.
Love it, love it. And we have one question that snuck in here by 27 Stories. Who is your favorite writer, Michel?
Well, there's this kid from Hamilton, Ontario. His name is Omar Kafagi, and I'm not sure if he's online right now, but actually, that's him. 27 Stories. There's a piece of my history that I actually didn't mention in my intro at the beginning. Is I actually had a discussion forum. It's actually one of the most popular forums on the internet back then for copywriters. It was called Copywriters Board, and I had over 70,000 active members in my. This is before social media, right?
Yeah.
In mid 90s. And Omar actually was one of my moderators back then. But I actually had some of the top writers, and one of the people that I admired a lot, mostly at that time, who was my mentor, was Gary Halbert. If you're a copywriter, that name will probably be familiar to you. We became good friends. We actually did a couple of seminars together. We did telephone coaching calls together and whatnot. But he is probably the one that because the one thing that he's really good at, and it's the one thing that can be applied to anything in marketing, is that he's a great storyteller. To tell great stories, you're going to have pretty much marketing at your fingertips.
Love that, love that. Bradley Bernie says, "Go Canada." Okay. So I want to for this episode to feel complete for you. I mean, please, any last comments, and how can people get a hold of you?
Well, first of all, thank you, Dre. This is amazing. I enjoy your show, so I enjoy being on your show now. And it's kind of like a badge of honor, I guess, to a certain degree, and I appreciate that. If you look at my name, Michel Fortin, michelfortin.com, you can also find me on the socials, either Michel Fortin, or when my name is taken, I actually had to use my full name, so Michel Guy Fortin. But if you want to make it easier, just go to michelfortin.com/links, and it's all my socials are there. That'll be easy for you to just find me on anywhere. And you'll see me playing drums. You'll see me talking about marketing and SEO, but also lifting weights, because I'm also a competitive power lifter, and I do record myself in the gym sometimes. So
love that. Everyone's get a round of applause. All right. Can you hold on for one quick second while I sign off here? Hold on for one quick second. All right, guys, that concludes another episode of the SEO Video Show. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And don't forget to support our sponsors. We have SEOnitro.com for some backlinks, and also search-intelligence.co.uk for your digital PR needs. Till next time, I will see you guys next week. Peace out.
Thank you for watching. Hope you come back next week. Make sure to subscribe. You don't want to miss a thing. Hope you learn something new, because the vibe is incredible. From the special SEO professionals, SEO Video Show. Let's work. Want to see you be an SEO expert. Paul Andre De Vera helping you step it up. No delay right now. Time to level up. Hey, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe. Woo!